Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is Week 3 wide receiver rankings, going from 1 to 32 at the wide receiver position for this week, in my opinion. Before I start the video, I'd like to ask you, could please go down below and click that subscribe button, because not only does it help me, it's also going to help you guys, because I'm releasing so many videos every single day. I do 2 live streams a week, Thursday night and then Sunday before the games. If you are not subscribed and clicking that notification bell, you are going to be missing out. So let's get right into the video. Also follow me on Twitter at NotoriousFNTSY. So I'm going to start here 1 through 12. Number 1, we have Deandre Hopkins going up against the LA Chargers. Now, Deandre Hopkins is a top wide receiver pretty much every single week. This matchup against the Chargers should be a pretty solid matchup for the wide receiver position. Deshaun Watson should be able to throw some touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins is his favorite option, and I think that he's going to have a great week this week. Number 2, we have OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., going up against the LA Rams on Sunday Night Football. 2 back-to-back primetime games for Mr. Odell. I believe that this should be a solid matchup for the Browns and the Rams. Both sides of the ball should have a lot of production in this game. Should be a pretty high-scoring game, but I think that Odell will produce this week just like he did last week. Number 3, we have Julio Jones going up against the Indianapolis Colts, also in a solid matchup to score a bunch of points against the Colts defense. I think that Julio Jones is getting a lot of looks. He's seeing these touchdowns that we haven't seen, like that we weren't seeing in years past. Matt Ryan's slinging the ball out. I think Julio Jones will be pretty good this week. Probably be a top 3 option in fantasy football. Number 4, we have Davante Adams of the Green Bay Packers going up against the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos defense is not what it was in the past. I believe that Aaron Rodgers will be able to easily have his way with it, and Davante Adams is his number 1 target, so I think he will have a good day as well. Pretty much every single week, all of last year, Davante Adams was putting up double-digit games, a shit like touchdowns, all of that. I'm so confident that Davante Adams is going to bounce back after week 1. Obviously, week 2 he had a bounce back game. Confident again week 3 against Denver that he will have a big game. Number 5, we have Amari Cooper going up against the Miami Dolphins. He may end up being the number 1 wide receiver this week. The Miami Dolphins, not even trying. We are tanking. It is embarrassing. Amari Cooper will be able to have his way with the defense like it's nothing. I think Amari Cooper may end up somehow scoring 90 touchdowns because of how bad the Dolphins defense is. Number 6, we have Keenan Allen of the Houston Texans, the number 1 route runner in the NFL as proclaimed by his peers. Let me tell you something about Keenan Allen. He is going up against the Houston Texans, and I already claimed to you guys that this was going to be a high-scoring matchup, and I really do believe it. I think Keenan Allen is going to have a monster game this week. So I'm pretty confident in him being a top 10 guy. Number 7, we have Mike Evans, the least confident I am of anyone in the top 10 position here. I think Mike Evans going up against the New York Giants is obviously a positive matchup for him. Week 1, week 2 hasn't really been able to do it. Week 3, I'm semi-confident that he's going to have a bounce back game this week. I'm confident that I would be starting him in every single matchup. A lot of people are asking me questions. Should I start Mike Evans or should I start this guy? The answer is always pretty much Mike Evans. He had 2 terrible games in a row, but I think he's really going to have a bounce back game this week going up against the Giants. Number 8, we have Michael Thomas going up against the Seattle Seahawks, and he is a tough guy to figure out where to put him. He lost his quarterback, Drew Brees. How good is Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy Bridgewater, and Mr. Taysom Hill? Who really knows? But what I do know is that quarterbacks like to throw it to their best option on the team, and I know who the best option on the Saints is, and that is Mr. Michael Thomas. He should be able to score some points this week after a whole week of practice with a new quarterback. Number 9, we have Chris Godwin, who I thought about ranking above Mike Evans, but I just couldn't do it. Mike Evans, we all know in real life, is the better talent, but Chris Godwin has been playing out of his mind. This week against the Giants is obviously a positive matchup for him. He should be able to do what he wants with the defense, should be able to score a touchdown, get 100 yards, just like Mike Evans. I think it's going to be a great game for both of them this week. At number 10, we have Juju Smith-Schuster, but without Mr. Big Ben going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Juju showed his praise for Mason Rudolph on NFL Network. I was watching it. He was talking about how he's good. I think that Mason Rudolph is not the worst option for Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster should be seeing some solid targets out there this week. I think that the younger quarterbacks, like I said, when they're not the number 1 guy, they just target the number 1 guy on the team. We know Juju's the best guy on the team, and the San Francisco 49ers defense, not elite or something, so Juju should be able to have a fine game. Number 11, we have Adam Thielen going up against the Oakland Raiders. Now, this is a positive matchup for Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, Stefon Diggs. If this is not the week where they put up a good game, I don't know when it will be. The Oakland Raiders defense has been torched by multiple teams. I think that Adam Thielen will be able to have a solid game this week. He seems to be Kirk Cousins' number one target. That solid PPR option. I like Adam Thielen this week. And at number 12, we have Sammy Watkins going against the Baltimore Ravens. I know it does not say he's playing the Ravens. I just know that because I'm some type of a fucking genius. Sammy Watkins should be able to have a solid game this week. I know he disappointed week 2, but week 1 he came out strong for you, and I think that this week he's not going to score 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns like he did week 1, but I believe that he will be able to have a pretty solid game going up against the Ravens. Now, 13 through 23. At number 13, we have T.Y. Hilton. Now, the reason why this looks so fucked up is because I originally had AB in here around 15. AB got cut by the Patriots after doing what he did. Who knows if he did what he did? I don't know what he did. I don't know if he did it, didn't do it. Who knows? But what I do know is he's been cut, and so you're probably pissed off if you own him in fantasy. But at number 13, we have T.Y. Hilton going up against the Atlanta Falcons. T.Y. Hilton is a top 15 guy every single week in fantasy football. You know he can score those touchdowns. You know he's that big play wide receiver. You know he's always going to catch the ball when it's thrown his way. So I like T.Y. Hilton this week. Number 14, we have Tyler Lockett going against the New Orleans Saints. I think that this is a matchup that the Seahawks and the Saints, it may be a somewhat high-scoring game. I don't believe it's going to be the high-scoring game. It could have been with Drew Brees at the quarterback position, but I think that Russell Wilson will be able to throw the ball a decent amount in this matchup if they don't just completely demolish the Saints and just run it with Chris Carson a million times. Number 15, 16, and 17 are the Rams wide receivers. Number 15, we have Robert Woods. Number 16, we have Cooper Kupp. And number 17, we have Brandon Cooks, all going up against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday night. Sunday. I believe that Robert Woods is the best fantasy option on that team. Last week, he disappointed you with 4 points. Cooper Kupp came up big, and Brandon Cooks had a solid game. I think Robert Woods gets back on the saddle and plays solid again this week, or plays solid this week. I'm pretty confident in Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Brandon Cooks. That's why they're 15, 16, and 17 in a solid matchup against the Browns. Number 18, we have Stefon Diggs. I discussed this with Adam Thielen. The Oakland Raiders, this has to be a game that Kirk Cousins wins. This has to be a game where Kirk Cousins plays big. Stefon Diggs is the wide receiver on the team that is pretty fucking good. We saw he scored a touchdown last week that was called back. Then we saw him score another touchdown that was not called back. There's too many goddamn penalties in the game. Kirk Cousins looks like shit, but Stefon Diggs needs to have a solid game this week. Number 19, we have Kenny Golladay going against the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, I think this is going to be a high-scoring matchup in the quarterback video. Oh, never mind. The quarterback video has not came out yet as you are watching this most likely. It's the later upload. Go and check that shit out later. But the Philadelphia Eagles are going to get scored on. Kenny Golladay is going to look good in this matchup like he looked last week. I like Kenny Golladay a lot this week. Number 20, we have Calvin Ridley. Like I said, I liked Julio this week against the Indianapolis defense. I have no reason not to believe that Calvin Ridley is going to be getting those targets like we saw last week, running down the field, 60-yard bombs from Matt Ryan. I think Calvin Ridley could come down with a huge game this week. At number 21, we have Julian Edelman. I thought about moving him up a lot because of the fact that now Antonio Brown is gone, but I'll keep him here at 21. I don't necessarily. This is a good matchup for him. Tom Brady tends to spread the ball out a lot, but I think now that it's just Edelman and Flash Gordon, that Edelman will get a lot more receptions this week and look a lot better than last week. Number 22, we have Tyler Boyd going up against the Buffalo Bills because no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Tyler Boyd is looking pretty good the past 2 games. I think he's going to have another solid game up against the Bills defense, which while the Bills defense is good, Andy Dalton has been able to play pretty well, and he's been targeting Tyler Boyd a lot, so I like him in this matchup. Number 23, on the other side of the ball, we have John Brown going up against the Bengals and Tyler Boyd. I think that John Brown is one of those guys that every single week is a must-start candidate, whether he's your wide receiver 2 or flex in an ideal matchup like this against the Bengals, who have allowed 1,000,000 points the past couple of weeks. I think that John Brown is going to have a potential huge game this week. Josh Allen and him have a great connection. Last year we saw it was Robert Woods and John Brown. This year, not Robert Woods, it is Josh Allen and John Brown. Josh Allen, holy shit, Josh Allen and Robert Woods. This week I believe it, or this year I believe it's the John Brown Josh Allen connection. Josh Allen, John Brown. Sorry, guys, I'm off the rocker. Next game, or not next game, the next rankings here 24 through 32. At number 24, we have A-Rob, Allen Robinson going against the Washington Redskins in a good matchup. The Washington defense has allowed 1,000,000 points. Allen Robinson, kissing titties Trubisky, should be able to put up a solid game this week. At number 25, we have Christian Kirk going up against the Carolina Panthers. Now, I love Christian Kirk this week and Larry Fitzgerald. I don't even know where I don't even know where Larry Fitzgerald is. I don't even think I said his name, but he is also going to be, he's a guy that you can cement in this range as well. I didn't have him written down. I forgot about that, but because I think I edited him out, but Larry Fitz is going to be a top 25 guy this week as well. Both of them are going to look good against the Carolina Panthers. We've seen that Kyler Murray has really targeted Kyler Murray has really targeted Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald. He's gotten a liking to those two, and I think that he'll have a solid game this week. Number 26, we have Hollywood Brown going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, I think this is going to be a high-scoring matchup between the Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. It was last year. I think that Hollywood Brown is in for a pretty good game. Number 27, we have Emmanuel Sanders, one of the greats in fantasy football this year. He's going up against the Green Bay Packers. He is looking like the only wide receiver that Joe Flacco is going to throw the ball to repeatedly. So that's what we want in fantasy football, is the guy that's getting the ball the most on the team, and that is Emmanuel Sanders for the Denver Broncos. At number 28, we have DJ Moore. Now, with Kyle Allen, instead of Cam Newton, he's further down in the rankings. I still would start him in a lot of situations. Kyle Allen may even be an upgrade to Cam Newton. Who really knows? But we will see on Sunday. Number 29, we have Mike Williams of the LA Chargers going up against Houston. I thought this would be a high-scoring matchup. We saw Mike Williams have a pretty solid game last week. I think he has another good game this week. Number 30, we have Nelson Aguilar going up against the Detroit Lions. I thought this was going to be a high-scoring matchup as well. I think Nelson Aguilar is going to have a pretty good game, being the wide receiver one on the team. His other teammates are all hurt. Alshon Jeffrey, hurt. Deshaun Jackson, hurt. It's just going to be the Nelson Aguilar and Zach Ertz show, and I think that Nelson Aguilar has a pretty solid game this week. At number 31, we have John Ross, the Sauce Boss, going up against Buffalo. John Ross is a guy that is impossible to bench unless you have better options in this ranking video. But he's a guy that at any point could just burn the corner, go for 80 yards. Andy Dalton throws him a bomb and he reels it down, scores that touchdown. Any single week he can do that. But every single week, he's been productive, so I'm confident in John Ross having a pretty good game this week at 31. And then 32, we have Flash Gordon, savior of the universe, going up against the Jets. He is going to, I think that since Tom Brady sprinkles the ball everywhere, I think somehow Philip Dorsett may end up with the best game of them all out of Edelman, Josh Gordon, and Dorsett, but I would still rank Josh Gordon pretty highly this week, and I think he'll have a pretty good game. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you did end up enjoying, at any point you ended up being like, God damn, that was funny, or God damn, that was amazing, or God damn, I should go see a psychiatrist because I'm watching this guy's videos every day. But don't do that. Keep watching the videos. They're all amazing. Have a great goddamn day. I love you all. Goodbye!